Get this filthy creature out of my house. You don't know that cats are bad luck for children. Get him out of the house before evening.
Get that filthy creature out of my house. Cats are bad luck for babies. I want it gone before sunrise. A wealthy pregnant woman threw out a helpless pregnant cat into the cold night. Her poor maid rescued the cat and gave it a home. 3 months later, a deadly snake crawled into the rich woman's nursery while her newborn slept. What happened next will haunt you forever. That same cat she threw away came back. Not for revenge, but to give its life for the baby it never owed anything to. This is the story of a pregnant cat that was kicked out for being bad luck, but died protecting the very child whose mother had abandoned it. A story that proves love has no memory of cruelty. In a grand mansion on the outskirts of a beautiful town, there lived a wealthy woman named Victoria. She had everything a person could want. A successful husband named Richard who owned half the businesses in town. A mansion with 20 rooms, each decorated with expensive furniture and paintings from faraway lands. Servants who attended to her every need. Clothes made from the finest silk. Jewelry that sparkled like stars. But despite all her riches, Victoria's heart was empty of the one thing money couldn't buy: kindness. Victoria was beautiful on the outside, but cold on the inside. She spoke to her servants like they were less than human. She looked down on anyone who had less than her. She believed that her wealth made her better than everyone else, and she never missed a chance to remind people of it. Her husband, Richard, was different. He was kind and humble, despite his success. But he was always traveling for business, leaving Victoria alone in that big mansion with no one to soften her sharp edges. Among the servants in the household was a young woman named Maria. She was 25 years old, quiet and gentle, with a heart that seemed too big for her small frame. Maria had worked in the mansion for 3 years, cleaning floors, washing dishes, and enduring Victoria's constant criticism. She never complained, never talked back, never showed anything but patience and grace. Some of the other servants wondered how she did it. "How do you stay so calm when she treats you like dirt?" they would ask. Maria would just smile softly and say, "Kindness costs nothing, and cruelty always comes back around." Maria lived in a tiny room at the back of the mansion, barely big enough for a bed and a small table. She sent most of her wages to her sick mother in the village, keeping almost nothing for herself. She had no luxuries, no comforts, no hope of a better life. But she had something Victoria would never understand: peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing you've never deliberately hurt another living soul. One autumn evening, something unexpected happened. A stray cat wandered onto the mansion grounds. It was a beautiful calico with patches of orange, black, and white, but it was thin and tired, with a belly swollen from pregnancy. The cat had clearly been on its own for a while, surviving on scraps and sleeping wherever it could find shelter. It curled up near the kitchen door, hoping for warmth and maybe a bit of food. Maria found the cat that night when she took out the garbage. "Oh, you poor thing," she whispered, kneeling down to stroke its matted fur. The cat looked up at her with tired green eyes and let out a weak meow. Maria's heart broke. She snuck back into the kitchen and brought out a small bowl of milk and some leftover fish. The cat ate hungrily, purring despite its exhaustion. Maria sat with it for a while, talking softly, promising to take care of it. But Victoria saw everything from her window. The next morning, Victoria stormed into the kitchen where Maria was preparing breakfast. "What is that disgusting creature doing near my house?" she demanded. Maria froze. "The cat, ma'am. It was hungry and cold. I just gave it some food." Victoria's face twisted with disgust. "Are you out of your mind? I'm pregnant. Cats are bad luck for babies. Everyone knows that they steal the breath of newborns. They bring disease and misfortune. I want that thing gone. Today." Maria tried to reason with her. "Ma'am, that's just an old superstition. Cats aren't dangerous to babies. And this poor cat is pregnant too. She needs help." But Victoria wasn't listening. She never listened to anyone she considered beneath her. "I don't care if it's pregnant with the king's kittens," she snapped. "I want it off my property before sunset. If I see it here tomorrow, you're fired." That evening, as the sun began to set and the air grew cold, Maria wrapped the pregnant cat in an old blanket and carried it away from the mansion. The cat meowed softly, confused and scared. "I'm sorry, girl," Maria whispered. "I can't let her hurt you. You're coming home with me." Maria named the cat Luna because of the crescent-shaped patch of white fur on her forehead. She set up a little bed for Luna in the corner of a tiny room, made from an old cardboard box and some rags. It wasn't much, but it was warm and safe. Every night after her long shifts at the mansion, Maria would come home and sit with Luna, stroking her fur and talking about her day. Luna would purr and nuzzle against her hand, grateful for the love she had never known before. A month later, Luna gave birth to 4 beautiful kittens. 3 calicos like their mother and 1 pure white one, the Maria named Angel. Watching Luna care for her babies filled Maria with a joy she couldn't explain. It was like having a family of her own, something she had longed for her entire life. Around the same time, Victoria gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Alexander, and he was the most precious thing Victoria had ever seen. For the first time in her life, she felt something close to love, but even motherhood couldn't soften all her edges. She hired 3 nannies to care for the baby, so she wouldn't have to wake up at night. She complained constantly about how tired she was, how much work the baby was, how her body hadn't bounced back fast enough. She never thanked the servants who worked around the clock to support her. Maria continued working at the mansion, now helping with the baby as well as her regular duties. She would often stay late, rocking Alexander to sleep when the nannies were overwhelmed. She loved that little boy, even though his mother treated her like dirt. Every time she held him, she thought of Luna's kittens and how all babies, human or animal, deserve to be loved. Months passed. Alexander grew healthy and strong. Luna's kittens grew playful and curious, turning Maria's tiny room into a playground of fur and chaos. Maria found homes for 3 of the kittens with kind families in the village, but she kept Angel and Luna with her. They were her family now. One hot summer night, something terrible happened. Maria had just finished her shift and was walking home when she felt a strange heaviness in her chest. Something wasn't right. She didn't know how she knew, but she knew. Without thinking, she turned around and ran back toward the mansion. At that same moment, Victoria was asleep in her bedroom on the 2nd floor. The nannies had gone home for the night, and Alexander was sleeping peacefully in his nursery down the hall. The window had been left slightly open to let in the cool night breeze. No one noticed the shadow that slithered across the windowsill. A snake. A deadly viper with venom strong enough to kill a grown man in ours. And it was heading straight for the crib where baby Alexander slept. Luna, who had been resting outside Maria's window half a mile away, suddenly lifted her head. Her ears perked up. Her green eyes widened. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Without understanding why, she leaped off the bed and squeezed through the gap in the window. She ran through the dark streets, faster than she had ever run, guided by an instinct that defied all explanation. The snake reached the nursery. It coiled its body near the crib, its tongue flicking, sensing the warmth of the sleeping baby. It began to climb the wooden leg of the crib, silent and deadly. And then Luna arrived. She burst through the open nursery window like a guardian angel, landing on the floor with a soft thud. The snake froze. Luna's fur stood on end, her green eyes locked onto the predator. She didn't hesitate. She pounced. The fight was vicious. The snake struck at Luna again and again, its fangs sinking into her flesh, injecting venom that burned like fire. But Luna didn't stop. She clawed and bit, attacking with a ferocity born from pure love. She threw her body between the snake and the crib, refusing to let the creature reach the baby. Finally, with one last desperate bite, Luna severed the snake's head from its body. The viper fell to the floor, dead. But Luna fell, too. She collapsed beside the crib, her body trembling, her breathing shallow. The venom was spreading through her veins. She was dying. Maria arrived at the mansion moments later. She didn't know why she had come back, but she ran straight to the nursery as if something was pulling her there. When she opened the door, she screamed. There was blood on the floor, a dead snake near the window, and Luna, her beloved Luna, lying motionless beside the crib. But Alexander was safe. He was still sleeping peacefully, completely unaware that a battle had just been fought for his life. Maria fell to her knees and gathered Luna into her arms. "No, no, no," she sobbed. "Luna, please. Please." Please, don't leave me. But Luna's eyes were already closing. She looked up at Maria one last time, let out a soft purr, and went still. Victoria heard the screams and came running. When she saw the scene before her, she froze in the doorway. What happened? She gasped. Maria looked up at her with tears streaming down her face. The cat you threw away just saved your son's life. She killed the snake that was about to bite him, and now she's dead. Victoria's face went pale. She looked at the dead snake, at the blood on the floor, at the peaceful baby in the crib. And then she looked at Luna, the cat she had called bad luck, the cat she had wanted killed, the cat that had given its life for her child. For the first time in her life, Victoria felt the full weight of her cruelty. She collapsed against the doorframe, sobbing. "What have I done?" she whispered. "Oh God, what have I done?" The days that followed were filled with grief and revelation. Victoria couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Luna's face in her dreams, kept hearing Maria's words echo in her mind. She threw away the cat that saved her son. She almost caused her baby's death with her superstition and cruelty. Something broke inside Victoria that night, and something new began to grow. For the first time, she saw Maria not as a servant, but as a person with a heart bigger than her entire mansion, a person who had loved a stray cat when no one else would, and who had raised that cat to be capable of such sacrifice. Victoria called Maria into her sitting room one afternoon. Maria expected to be fired. Instead, Victoria did something no one expected. She got down on her knees. "Forgive me," Victoria said, tears in her eyes. "I've treated you horribly. I've treated everyone horribly. That cat had more love in her heart than I've ever shown in my entire life. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking for it anyway." Maria was stunned. She looked at the proud woman kneeling before her, broken and humbled, and she felt something she didn't expect: compassion. She reached down and took Victoria's hands. "I forgive you," Maria said softly. "Luna would want me to forgive you. That's who she was. That's who I want to be." From that day forward, everything changed. Victoria became a different person. She gave Maria a cottage on the mansion grounds, a real home with a garden where Angel could play. She doubled the wages of all her servants and began treating them with respect. She donated to animal shelters and started a foundation in Luna's name to help stray cats and dogs find loving homes. Most importantly, she told Alexander the story of Luna every single day. She told him about the cat that gave its life for his, about the maid who showed kindness when no one else would, about the night that taught his mother the true meaning of love. Years later, when Alexander was a young man, he visited Luna's grave in the garden behind Maria's cottage. A small stone marked the spot, engraved with simple words: "Here lies Luna. She was called bad luck. She was thrown away, but she gave her life to save a child who was not her own. Love has no memory of cruelty." Alexander knelt beside the grave and placed a single white flower on the stone. "Thank you," he whispered. "I owe you my life." Maria, now an old woman with gray hair and gentle eyes, stood beside him. She smiled through her tears. "Luna didn't save you because she expected anything in return," she said. "She saved you because that's what love does. It gives without counting the cost." And somewhere, in a place beyond pain and sorrow, a calico cat with a crescent moon on her forehead purred softly. Her sacrifice had not been forgotten. Her love had not been in vain. Friends, if this story touched your heart, drop a comment telling me what lesson it taught you. Let me know what country you're watching from. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss more stories like this one. There's more waiting for you right on your screen. Thank you for staying with me until the end.